This design right here, it's out of this world. Like, you've got this plane that's three-dimensional going in the background with some clouds and parallax of text and everything. This is just really cool. Yes, we're looking at some amazing CodePen designs. These are designs people have made just to showcase some of the skills they have. And then it goes three-dimensional with this like polygon kind of shape, like a blueprint. It's just amazing. I could not make a site like this, and it actually puts me a little bit to shame. Well, I think this next one's gonna blow you away. This right here is probably the best transition I've ever seen for parallax between two different sections. Just look at the text and how it sort of is transparent between the clouds and the actual background for the sky, and even the text itself changes and it's almost impossible to tell, which is so cool. Okay, some of these examples are out of this world. I'm not too sure how we could implement them, but let's take a step back and look at buttons, for example. So here's our simple button, right? And we've got this 3D transform on hover, but when you select it, it explodes with some confetti, which is pretty cool. This one right here turns the send button into a paper plane and flies away. And if you look closely, you can actually see that it folds up and changes perspective. So what did you guys think? Did you like that last one, or did you not like it? These little animated emojis are really cool, I like them. And here we have a pretty good looking slider with a number of things happening, like transitions and background effects and the colors and the text animation as well. It's pretty cool, but I'm gonna have to tell you that sliders are like 2020. You don't want to use them going into the future because they move too quick and no one can actually read what you're saying on there. People prefer video backgrounds these days. Why bother with a slider when you can have really cool CSS animation like this book flipping? This could, for example, replace that slider with maybe something like an image like this on the right hand side with some text on the left hand side. This is way more interesting. And this exactly here is what I mean by CodePen, making things that are normally boring or standard a little bit more interesting. This image here is now looking like a poster that's being stuck on a wall with like some creases in there. It feels more natural, it feels more real, and when you look at it, it just stands out so much better than a plain image like here in the background. Here's a pretty cool menu that animates with some SVG animations for the lines and the background color, and this little bit of a bump, which I think is really cool, especially with these things being like a standard now with mobile designs. And let's not forget to leave a tip, or at least a like or a subscribe if you're enjoying this video. And this now brings me to this login, which has different 3D perspectives whenever you go from a sign up to a login. And I think that's cool. It's a more interesting way to do a different page transition rather than taking you to a new page, or for example, just making it simply disappear and appear as a different format. Now, if you're really thinking of taking your website to the next level, take a look at this 3D perspective on this isometric design, which also has physics where I can shoot Christmas stuff all over the furniture here. This is so cool. I think any type of website with this sort of sophistication will definitely get more click-through rates. Here's another really cool button. When you select it, you get a cool delivery truck that seems to be traveling to your place and the order has been placed. And if you thought page transitions can't get any cooler, wait till you see this right here. It's amazing. And look at this cool background color and this sort of background transition effect with the text, and look at even the background image where the perspective of it seems to shift from left to right with all the flowers. That's so cool. And here's probably a checkbox you haven't seen before where the actual checked item that's active is bouncing from one spot to another. It even flows from A to C like a wave. That's so cool. This one here is sort of like a bit of a flip card, but it's got a few elements that make it a little bit more interesting, such as the fact that when it flips out, we've got a video playing in the background of the card, and it's got a nice transition here for the view details. So I think this is a good way to do a call to action that just makes it a little bit more organic and genuine and interesting. Well, hello there. It seems this one here is a little bit of a nice hero text maybe that has this sort of a background mask with some colors that are moving with the mouse cursor. It's a pretty cool idea to do just to keep some more engagement, and I do like the colors they've picked, though I think the pink is a little bit too pale to really stand out. And here we have another example of like a scrolling website, and personally I like the way that like Apple, for example, does these, but here you get the code to find out how you can do it yourself, which is also pretty interesting. You should definitely check out how to do these things because I think they make the website way more interesting than it could normally be. And this is what I like about CodePen. Sometimes you just find these really interesting things, like this one here. It doesn't look like much right now, but when you hover over elements, they turn into videos. This is such a much better way to do hover states than just maybe maybe making the picture a little bit darker or lighter or something like that. Having them all video content is just so cool, and that just brings the website to life. And we're nearing the end of this video, which means it's about time to do a fast session on the last examples that I have here. This one here is a cool bear that follows your mouse cursor, and then here we've got a dark mode and a light mode, which is really trending a lot for websites these days. We have this ticket here that expands out when you click on it, and I really like this. I wish Google did this on their own website. Then we've got this one here with this really cool hover state when you view a website. I like this one as well. I think it's quite unique. We have a day and a night transition, and when you hover over them, they actually turn into like this moon and the sun, as well as for the planets here. That's pretty cool. Then we've got this one here, which also is another example of a transition to another page, which I kind of like. And finally, we have this boat on the water, which is all done in CSS and HTML. There's no JavaScript whatsoever here, and that's so cool as well. Does anyone have any really cool ideas for code pens that I should check out in the next video? Add them in the comments below.